Hi, I'm xxotomi. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. This is the Creating Her Diaries, where I talk about the things I've reflected on this week / the things that I'm doing this week mentally and physically to glow up mentally, physically, and emotionally. I also talk about what's in and out for the week. I go over it briefly in the beginning, and then at the end we go into it with detail if you're interested to stay and learn. Today's topic is about college, and not exactly just about college, but more so also about groups / cliques, clubs, and things like that are in a social arena that also just goes into college. So premise, I graduated this spring, and in my entire 4 years, my college experience was not exactly what you would have expected for it to be. I graduated in high school in 2019, went to uni for like almost a year, and then COVID happened, and so then got to do online school for a year. And then I was like, I want to move to South Korea, and so I did university for a year in South Korea. And then I came back, and then I was preparing to leave the country again. So I haven't had exactly the basic college experience, and I want to go into how that's kind of affected me, but why it's both a good thing and a bad thing. Before that, what's in and what's out. What's in, I'm gonna say chicken wings, because I was feeling kind of upset and I went and got some. And I'm not upset about that because I don't know, it made me feel better. I think it was also because I was hungry that I was a bit upset, and also some of the events that happened today, but we'll get into it, maybe. Then we'll say what's out, which does go into today's topic, is not having a plan. And so I'll start out with that because it's a good way to go in. Not having a plan, especially when you know what type of person you are. So if you're like a totally spontaneous person, then maybe you won't be able to relate entirely for this. But I'm going to say not having a plan in terms of social situations. I'm the type of person where I know that if I'm going into a social situation, I need to know who's there. Like if I'm invited somewhere, I need to know who's there, what type of environment is it, what type of people will be there, how many people will be there, what's like, how long is it, what are we eating? Like I have to know all these things. That way I can prep myself internally. And I've tried changing that simply because I know that I have one friend who's very social and doesn't like think about any of those things and just kind of goes in and like does, all that fun stuff immediately. But I know that I'm not that type of person, and I've tried to get out of my comfort zone about it, but it seems to backfire usually. The first time I tried, it was okay, but it was okay because alcohol. And then I tried to do it like completely like sober this time because I don't feel like drinking. I'm not in a drinking mood anymore, I guess, for the past couple months. But I tried, and maybe it's because I was hungry, but it was just feeling like a bunch of things were deterring me. And then going into the topic of having a plan, it felt like because there was a lack of a plan, I was discarded, and that doesn't feel good. And so we're going to go into cliques and friend groups and the college activities before we interlink it with the plan aspect of this video. So when you go to university, and I definitely did this when I first arrived, because I'll like preface this by saying when I was in high school, I was in a bunch of clubs, and I did it mainly because I was like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. There's some Nigerian brainwashing, by the way, but I was like, I'm going to be a doctor, so I need to have all these extracurriculars. So I did like orchestra. I was in 2 clubs, co-president of one, secretary of another. I ran track for 4 years, which I did enjoy. And I did color guard like briefly. Like I was in these clubs and taking all these AP classes and all that stuff, all these extracurriculars, because I was like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to do in school, / it'll keep me out of the house, / I need it for like, being accepted into whatever university I applied to. And then I think that carried into my college experience for the freshman year, because in my head, I was like, okay, if that's how I socialized before, because I wasn't really allowed to have a social life back in high school, then I need to incorporate that into college. And so I went in and I was like, okay, I can go join this dance team with the African Students Association, and I can just join the African Students Association as a whole. And then what else did I do? Oh yeah, and I did the homecoming fashion show, and that was like 2 or 3 months of training. And so like I was doing different extracurriculars to keep myself, busy and trying to socialize. And I found that in each little group, I was met with, there was always some type of conflict, and it's really weird. And let's rewind a little bit. I've always been the type of person, like especially since I moved across the country with my family, I was always the type of person who was like, I need to have a group of friends. Like before I moved, I had a group of friends at my church, like as a kid. And that was like a great thing, but it was also kind of like, there were always little arguments because we were kids. And now I have that mindset of like, dang, that was a whole conflict thing. And I was also the glue of the group that like stopped everyone from falling apart and like, you know, oh, let's talk about it type of thing. That way we could all stay friends. Then we move over to, you know, 5th grade. I get over to Georgia where I am now. And I was just like, I don't know, I was really longing to have a group of friends because I read the books about the girl who has, you know, all her friends and they go shopping and they have sleepovers and da. And so I kind of had that in the beginning. And then one little, I can talk about it like later, honestly, I can make a little video about it, but one little bullying incident happened and all of a sudden, no friends. And I was like, what the frick? Y'all just gonna abandon me in the time that I'm like in my weakest? And then we move into middle school and I was like trying to make friends and like have like a group thing, but it didn't really work out because all my friends had different classes. Okay, fine. Then we go into high school and, you know, I'm in these different clubs, I'm running track or I'm in orchestra, but I didn't have the group thing. Like in orchestra, I was playing and I was in a section with people, but they weren't my close friends. We didn't like, they had their little group and then I was just like, oh, I'm just going to play my instrument because I enjoy it. In track was a bit better because we were able to like have that team mentality. And so I'm gonna leave track out of this. But the other things like my clubs I was in or even in classes, like I was never able to find a group. There'd be maybe like 1 or 2 people and that would be like a good balance for me. And again, like mind you, like back then I did want to have a group of people because that's what I've been wanting for years. But it just never worked out. It's always been maybe 2 people and that we get along together like that. And then we get to uni and I'm like, okay, this is my chance. We're in a new environment again. Let's try and like have a group of people in our clubs and stuff like that. And so I was met with opposition on dance team. And then I was met with opposition in the fashion show. And it wasn't really like opposition, but it's like, I couldn't really get as close to the girls. I don't know exactly why. I made friends with like 1 or 2 people, made conversation, I'd say, with 1 or 2 people. And then I still have their Instagrams now, but it's not really like, we didn't become a friend group or anything. And even when I lived in South Korea and I attempted to like bring my friends together, it was just bad. So at this point, I'm like, is a friend group thing good for me? Like, does it work? And that kind of makes me think about, you know, how I've attempted to have that type of relationship with people in college and how I've attempted to fit myself into the group mentality back in uni, because I say back in uni as if it was forever, but it was just months ago. Anyway, because it's never worked out and I wonder why. And I'm not going to say that I'm the problem because I don't even think we get close enough to the point where it's like, oh, one of us can be the problem. I think it's just like the puzzle pieces just don't fit. And I wonder if like I'll ever make that type of friend group or if I'll ever find certain people who just we all click together and there's, you know, maybe there's a little bit of arguments or drama, whatever, because we are all humans, but I guess like there are no huge discrepancies or there's not, you know, huge differences in our personalities that cause us to not be friends. So I go into like the group and clique mentality of college because college is a very community space, especially the activities. You have the football games, tailgates, parties, house parties / you know, Greek parties and stuff like that. So you have like those different groups, and again, coming from someone who 1 needs to know everything before she goes to a certain event, and then 2 has never, like for some reason, just hasn't been able to fit herself into a certain friend group, it just makes it seem like I'm even more distant from that world. And today I was invited to go out to a tailgate and I was like, okay, you know, I should go. I've been rotting in bed just editing videos for the past 4 days. I should go out and like actually do something. So I was like, okay, I'll go. And I was feeling like I don't want to go really, but I knew that because I was invited, I was like, you know what, I should go and meet my friend. And in my head, I thought I was meeting just my friend and then our other like mutual friend, but that wasn't the case. So now we've already been met with issue number 1, that whoever I thought was going is not going. So now I'm like out of my element immediately because I can't picture in my head, okay, what type of conversations am I having? Where is like the attention going to be distributed? Are we going to walk around together and do this? Are we going to try like to meet like each other's food places that we want to go to? Like, are we going to do it like that? Now I'm like already out of that element. I can't predict anything. Then we add the element of the fact that it's a tailgate. And so there's so many people and I'm I'm okay with there being a lot of people if I'm in that mindset, but I don't think I was prepared. The tailgate I'd been to before for the university was much smaller, or well, not much smaller, but it wasn't as large and chaotic and crowded as this one was. And so I was like, okay, I'm getting there, and I'm like, that was another thing, like just the parking. I didn't know how parking was going to be, and so I was driving around for like at least an hour. I think it was an hour 15 minutes of me driving around trying to find parking. And that was just another thing. Again, I'm hungry, driving around for parking, stressed because I don't know about how the group is going to work. And then I like notice that there's a bunch of people there, and I'm like, okay, trying to feed everything in. And this is again like me trying to put myself into an element that I feel that I don't really belong in, and it's not really making sense to me. And I've tried to belong, and I'm trying myself, like I'm trying to put myself out of my comfort zone, and it's just I'm meeting a bunch of walls, wall after wall after wall. And so then it finally gets to the point where like I'm walking around and I'm like, okay, I'm here and my friend is here, and my friend has like a group of her friends, and so she's not really responding. And I'm like, okay, so now I'm walking around alone in a huge group of people, and I'm hungry, and I've been taking forever to park, and it's just like, and I'm out of my element on top of that, because I was just like, oh, I want to spend time with my friend. And so I'm like in this place now where it's kind of like an out of body experience at this point, because I've taken myself, again, I'm trying to put myself into a different situation where I can get out of my comfort zone, and I am being like, I'm being punched left and right. And so I think the lesson out of this, to be honest, like part of the lesson, not the full lesson that I was supposed to learn, but part of the lesson is definitely to honor my own self and honor what I feel, because I had qualms about it. If qualms is the wrong word, then I'm sorry, but I had qualms about going in to this tailgate. I had worries. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna, if it's gonna work out the way I would hope it does. And I was right. Intuition never lies. And so I like that. It just goes into university and trying to fit yourself into that group type of thing, because you can see all these people at different tents and they all look like they belong. And then for you to walk into that, or for me to walk into that and just see like I don't fit in any of these groups, because that was one thing that I like had to deal with when I got to university, was I'm not exactly Black, because I didn't grow up listening to Black culture. Like I listened to mainly pop, and my mom played Christian music. That was how I grew up. And then I wasn't exactly fully Nigerian, because, well, one, I wasn't born there, and then I was raised in the US / went to white schools. So I don't fit in with the Black kids. I don't fit in with Nigerian kids, and that's basically half of our population at that university. And so I'm like, okay, I'm in this huge place where there's so many people, different groups, obviously, but I don't fit into any of them. And I keep trying to, but it's like, am I supposed to? I honestly don't feel like I'm supposed to. And for me to just keep trying kind of just feels like I'm slapping myself in the face at that point. So when I entered university with the expectation that I'm going to, find my people, because, I finally have the access to the Nigerian / African students, and I finally have access to, again, like so many Black students. I was like, maybe I can find my people. Black people are so diverse. I can find my people, and it just never worked out. So I talk about my university experience, and I think my inability to meet a friend group or to find solace in different groups in university kind of just fed my need to travel in a way. And so I'll start it off with how I started university freshman year, and I was like, okay, African students, I can like be friends with both of y'all. I can find out where I fit in at this point, which did not work. And then COVID happens, and I meet someone else, and she's talking about like, oh yeah, South Korea. And I'm like, okay, like I guess like I'm interested in going to South Korea. I learned about the culture, everything, go. So I go to South Korea, and over there, it kind of just started to fuel it's so much easier to be friends with people who get me type of road. And so people who get me, here's where we are. So again, I don't fit in with the Black kids exactly. I don't fit I'll say entirely. I don't fit in entirely with the Black kids. I don't fit in entirely with the African kids / Nigerian kids. But I do seem to fit in with the kids who are child of an immigrant, and again, don't really fit into those groups, or who are just foreign in general. So my first long-term friend, we met in high school. She's Japanese Korean, lived in Malaysia, came to Georgia, and then we became friends then. So immediately, mixed, doesn't really fit in one culture, maybe fits in both. Went to school in a whole different culture, comes over. We have that, you know, outcast type of fitting type of thing going on. I don't even know what to call it. Then I moved to Korea, and the friends that I make are Korean American, German, Indian American, and then another friend who's Korean, and like just like Korean. And the Korean friend, I don't think she can fit into this group simply because she's in her element, and like Korea is very homogenous, so she doesn't have the circumstance of living in the US where it's just everybody together. I don't know. The German friend, she like expresses that she loves traveling so she can get out of her home country. And then my other friends are like, yeah, I'd much rather not live in the States. Basically, we all have that type of mentality where it's like we don't really feel like we fit in where we are. And that's, I guess, what makes us good friends, like individually. The group thing doesn't work, though. I've tried it. It did not work out. So I find that, you know, maybe my need to travel, okay, that's another thing. Because I read my birth chart, and my birth chart said what? That like my ninth house, I have Libra in the ninth house. Libra is desires. Ninth house is higher education and travel. And so I literally was just born with a desire to seek higher education and travel. So let's just say like that's part of the reason. But I think another part of the reason is definitely that I can't seem to fit in anywhere. And so I just hop in different countries until I meet someone and, you know, they understand me. And I don't think that's a bad thing, really. Because, again, maybe some people just aren't built for group friendships. And that makes my heart hurt a little bit. Just because I know that that's something I've wanted for so long. And maybe I'm supposed to have it. Maybe just not yet. Maybe there's a couple more trials or lessons that I need to learn about having individual friendships before I can have a group friendship. That way I can, you know, not screw it up. But part of me like would like to blame myself for, you know, maybe there's something that I'm doing wrong, maybe because I'm too particular, and that's why I haven't made these strong friendships yet, or these strong group friendships. And I am picky with my friends. I am picky with who I end up being friends with or who I stay friends with. And I think, you know, that could have part of it, because, you know, you have to be picky about who's around you. I don't care what you think. If you have people around you that are not living life in the way that you're also living life, for example, like they're not determined to go after a certain goal, or they don't, if you're in school, like they're not studying as hard as you are, then you're going to get dragged down. And so for me to have friends that I know are moving in a certain direction, that's very important for me. And that's like one of the things I'm picky about outside of conversation and, you know, being able to joke around or like certain things. Fashion is a very important thing. If you don't love fashion, we can't be friends. But anyway, I don't want to condemn myself to never having a friend group and never feeling like I can fit into a certain clique, which is so crazy because the current State of the Union thing, actually, I get it from the Clique series, which is like my book series I read in middle school that really fed my desire to have a friend group. And so I don't know. I don't want to say that it's never going to happen, but these are just the things that I've noticed. I don't know, maybe I'm not seeing something. Maybe you guys see something that I'm not. Maybe it's because I have certain expectations. Like when you try to join a group, you have a certain expectation of how things are going to go. And if they don't go that way, then it throws me off a bit. Actually, that's really funny because I think about my dance team audition in freshman year of uni, and again, it was like African students, and I didn't know that we were all just, well, for one, they say freestyle, but it was not freestyle. Everybody choreographed their freestyle. Freestyle means you get into the circle and you dance. It does not mean you choreograph and then like your own style of a dance. That's a choreography. But anyways, I went in and like I actually freestyled one, and then I don't do the type of dancing that they do. Like I can do that type of dancing that they do, but not as well. Let's say that one for one. Because I've been dancing my whole life, but not just like Nigerian style dances. So that was just like a whole thing as well, where it's like I don't fit into that one circle, and I tried and I was faced with like, oh, I'm doing something wrong, or like this is not what it's supposed to be. Then my lights just turn off. Buddy, that's sad. Give me 1 second. So yeah, what was the conclusion of this? I'm not too sure. To be honest, I think I'll say the conclusion for this is, if you're watching this for some type of advice, then know your boundaries, know who you are first before you go into a new situation, because I've learned it, and I'll say I've learned it for the last time today. I need to know exactly what I'm going into before I go in and make myself upset. I need to know exactly what I'm going into before I go and like set myself up for failure or even medium expectations, and then be met at like negative numbers of the expectation. So yeah, I would say definitely, yeah, know yourself and don't try to force anything. That's something I should learn, definitely. Don't try to force anything. If it's not working out, if you're being met with roadblocks, it probably is not meant to be, or you need to go back, reevaluate, and then approach it from a different angle. So yeah, I think for now, I won't kill off my friendship dreams, my group friendship dreams. I won't kill them off, but I will take the backseat a little bit more and just let things happen and stop forcing myself to go into different scenarios like that. But yeah, that is all for today. I do want to get into the rest of the current State of the Union. So why chicken is in? I feel like this is just like, that's such a crazy jump. But current State of the Union, we only have one in and one out for today. In chicken, and specifically Korean chicken. You know how they say like there's KFC? The real KFC is Korean fried chicken, because it's just better. I think it's just like the seasoning, the sauce that they use, it's just so much better. Chungmen chicken, if you have a Chungmen chicken next to you, I'll write it down. Chungmen chicken, go there. So good. But I don't know, it just lifts my spirit. Maybe it's because I lived in Korea and so I have happy memories attached to eating Korean chicken. But other than that, it's just really good. So that's what's in. And then what's out is, what was it again? Not having a plan. I do want to say that some things do require spontaneity. Like if there's no way that you can make a plan, then spontaneity is what you should go for. But if there's a way for you to have a plan and prepare yourself, and if you are that type of person who just needs it, then I say go for it. I'm an ENFJ. I have been an ENFJ for years, since sophomore year, early sophomore year of university, when I first found out about it. And I've taken the test 4 times since then, and I have not changed, which is crazy because I have done a lot of self-development in the past years, and yet I'm still the same ENFJ who needs to have everything planned out, who is apparently extroverted, which is confusing to me, but the extroverted introverted percentage is like extroverted 60%, introverted 40%, so I guess that makes sense. What's the N? I think it's intuitive, whatever. I'm me. I haven't changed. That sounds so bad. I haven't changed, at least my personality type has not changed in a while. And so I know that I should kind of just let myself be myself, and the right people will come to me. But I was saying like, have a plan, as in just know what to expect. That way you don't feel disappointed in the end. And it sounds really melancholy, but like, at least for me, at least for us planners, just let yourself have your plan. That way you don't feel like you're hurting yourself in the end. On top of the plan thing, a little piece of advice, because it's something that I learned today, outside of like make sure that you feed yourself or else you will be angry, is if you have a plan and the plan does not work out, or you attempt to have a plan and the plan does not work out, then spontaneity is allowed to trickle in, because at that point it's like, let go of some control and just try to let things happen so you can calm yourself down. I definitely had to do that to calm myself down. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna drive to this place. And then I found like another place, which is the Chungmen chicken. Yeah, I was driving, I was like, whoa, I'm gonna go there. And I pulled over and I saw a bubble tea place right next to it. I was like, I'm gonna cheer myself up. And that was a bit of spontaneity for me that allowed me to kind of have a better day. So I'm sorry, I'm like all over the place. In chicken, out, not having a plan. Have a plan, Tommy. Little reminder, have a plan, you guys, if you need one. And I think that's it. Little update. I did my nails. Let me see. Is it focused? I did my nails. I glued them on this time. I'd been using the stickers, but I can't find the other stickers that I have with this set. So I glued them on, but I didn't prep my nails in advance because I kind of want to like redo them around my birthday time. My birthday's in 15 days. So I want to redo them around my birthday time and like maybe add different gems to it, or I don't know, just make them better. So yeah, I hope they didn't look crusty when I put them in the camera, because I did eat the chicken in my car on my way back home. that's it. My phone's gonna die soon, so we're gonna call it out here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying. Thank you for subscribing. I think I'm saying that wrong. Thank you for clicking. Thank you for staying. Thank you for subscribing. If you liked the video, please like the video. And if you want to see more, then subscribe. Thank you for watching. XXO. Love you. Bye.